Can you trust the word of a guy reviewing a service that he's never used? It's what I'm about to do today, so I really hope you can. Question is, are you brave enough to find out? Now, before you jump down my throat, let me just say that it's not that I don't want to try this service and give it a fair review. It's that I can't review it, because I can't access it. It's not available in my global region. But there is enough information out there to form a well-rounded idea of what the service is and if it would suit mine or other people's requirements within my region. So for the brave among you, welcome. My name is Doragon, and this is a hands-off review of Amazon Luna. The first question many of you may have is, what is Amazon Luna? Fair question, considering it's not widely available, so let me inform you. Luna is Amazon's attempt to enter the cloud gaming industry. It works much the same as Google Stadia in terms of technology, but differentiates itself in terms of pricing and structure. It leverages Amazon's web services, the same services that power the likes of Formula One, and can be accessed on Windows PCs, Macs, Fire TV devices, Fire tablets, Chromebooks, iPhones, iPads, and Android phones or tablets. Aesthetically, it follows the design language of many of the other Amazon apps. How you feel about that is up to you, but I cannot forgive them for butchering Comixology. So for me, I'm not a fan of the user interface or looks of the Luna app. Games are only available in packages known as channels on the service, with each channel having a different price point. The basic channel is known as Luna Plus and costs $9.99 per month. It actually has some stellar titles in this package, including Control Ultimate Edition, Devil May Cry 5, Mortal Shell, multiple Yakuza and Resident Evil titles, with the game total equaling 126 at the time of writing. There are 5 other channels that can be added to this basic one at any time. They vary in terms of cost, quantity, and quality of games. Those 5 channels are Family at $5.99 per month. This channel is dedicated to bringing families together over video games that anyone can play. Highlights include Overcooked, Monster Harvest, and Hot Wheels Unleashed. Be aware, however, there is some overlap with Luna Plus on this channel. Retro at $4.99 per month. A selection of must-play classics and retro-style throwbacks such as Metal Slug, Street Fighter II, and Castlevania. This channel is amazing for that bit of nostalgia for the older gamer, but quite expensive when many people own and emulate these games already. You then have Ubisoft Plus at $17.99 per month. This is Ubisoft's own subscription service available on multiple platforms. This offering makes life easy as it is purchasable and usable through Luna. It houses the latest and greatest games from Ubisoft, such as Immortals Phoenix Rising, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Watch Dogs Legion. And if they actually do release multiple games in 2022, which recent earnings calls says doesn't look likely, they'll be on this channel day and date. Skull and Bones should be added late in 2022, but that's pretty much it for this calendar year. There's then Jackbox Games at $4.99 per month. This one is pretty much what it says on the tin. All of the Jackbox party games for $5 per month. I can't really describe that any better. As a dip in and out option, this is superb for hosting parties and keeping your guests entertained. The final one is Prime Gaming. This is linked to your Amazon Prime subscription and is a monthly rotating selection of games at no additional cost to that existing subscription. There are 4 available per month, and these are cherry-picked from all of the other channels. At the time of writing, Garfield Kart Racing, Myst, Steel Assault, and Control Ultimate Edition are the available 4 games. Luna is compatible with a variety of inputs such as Xbox controllers, DualShock 4s, and mouse and keyboard. There is a Luna controller that uses the same Wi-Fi technology as the excellent Stadia controller to link directly to AWS and eliminate lag. Ergonomically, however, it looks very similar to the Stadia controller, which for me and my family means it'll be bulky and cumbersome to use as we have smaller hands, but I imagine for many, it'll work quite well. Those are the basics of Luna. So now, I want to critique it. One of my primary concerns with Luna is its lack of global availability. I know at this juncture the staunch defenders are going to rush to Luna's defense and say, "But it's in beta." But so is Fortnite, mate. And that is on every continent, service and hardware on the planet. It even plays on the phone in your pocket, regardless of specs. Unless you're playing on Android, where it's been in full release since 2020, xCloud is also in beta. But that's available in 4 global regions and 28 countries. Amazon Luna is available in just the good old US of A, after 2 years on the market. To put this in some perspective, Tangle teasers, which was the brainchild of one person after 30 years of experience in the industry, were available worldwide after 2 years on the market. Amazon is the 5th richest company on the planet, and in 2 years, they have failed to expand Luna at all. When one man in a remortgaged apartment selling hairbrushes does global expansion better than the 5th richest company on the planet, something has gone very wrong somewhere along the line for Amazon. Now don't get me wrong, I know you can't really compare digital cloud services to hairbrushes, despite business policies, practices and processes being very similar to facilitate expansion for either. So let's compare them to the 4th richest company in the world, Google. In 2019, Google launched their cloud gaming service Stadia in 22 countries. One sentence of comparison, and it isn't even a contest. It's decimation. By 2022, Stadia has expanded by 1 country to add Mexico to the list. Doesn't sound like much, but it opens the gap from 21 countries difference to 22 countries difference. PlayStation Plus, from a much smaller company, one that doesn't even break into the top 20 of richest companies in the world, has cloud gaming available in 25 countries. When are we going to admit that being available in only 1 country after 2 years on the market and a global announcement of launch isn't acceptable for a cloud gaming service? This sitting and waiting with zero information on an expansion just drives people to their competitors because they're here. They're available. Most have already gone through the exact same teething problems that Luna will inevitably go through when it expands into new markets. So why should I or anyone else wait for Luna, to then be plagued with launch issues if it eventually does release in our region, when we already have other available alternatives? That "if" in the last sentence also matters greatly. There are no guarantees that Luna will ever expand. If it does expand, there are no guarantees of the countries it will expand to. Take Australia, for example. A country that is many people's dream location. A Western democracy with tight ties to many of the companies that provide cloud gaming services. And they have access to exactly 2. xCloud and GeForce Now. Though I struggle to call the latter cloud gaming. There's no Stadia, no PS Plus Cloud, no Luna or Boosteroid. All they have is the xCloud service, locked behind the top paywall of Game Pass Ultimate, and GeForce Now, which is for hardcore dyed-in-the-wool PC gamers only. Availability should be Luna's primary concern, but they've been unnervingly quiet about expansion since launch. I now want to look at their payment structures, because to me, they're archaic. This is a problem that has plagued Amazon across multiple subscription options. They appear to be stuck in the 1990s, early 2000s mentally by offering a basic package that you then add additional packages to, in this case called channels, similar to cable or satellite TV options. You can just have the Prime channel and get your 4 games per month as a bonus to your existing Amazon Prime subscription, sure. But if you want any sizable library, then you have to pay $9.99 per month for Luna Plus before you can add a channel that you have specific want of thereafter. This business model is why I cannot watch live Formula 1 in the UK. To get F1, I have to get Sky's basic package and then add the Sky Sports package thereafter, because of an exclusivity deal they have. That's £30 per month with a £20 setup fee at the time of recording, to get the one channel that I actually want to watch. Even if I go through their mobile application, Now TV, I have to buy a month's pass at £25 to get access to all of Sky Sports. And in August 2022, that'll get me 1 race and I won't use the rest of the package. When my energy bills have increased 5-fold so far this year and look like they're doubling again in the winter, that £30 for a single channel that I'll use over just 23 weekends per year just can't be financially justified. That same ethos and concern applies to Luna's structure. If I just wanted the Ubisoft games, I would need to purchase Luna Plus and Ubisoft Plus for a month, which would equate to $27.98. In that scenario, there is a $10 surcharge to get to the games I want. If I wanted a library comparable to Game Pass Ultimate via Luna, I would be spending $45.93 per month to get every channel, and you're still falling over 100 games short of Game Pass at around $30 per month more, with massive crossover between the two services. It just makes no sense against the competition. Their closest rival would likely be classed as Stadia, because they're both non-gaming companies trying to break into gaming. But here's the rub. Stadia does not require any subscription fee. You can start on Stadia for free. No account, no payment details, just boot up and play. You can buy individual games if you fancy, or sign up to an optional pro subscription. There are over 100 free demos and trials and free-to-play full games on Stadia, none of which is available via Luna. Ubisoft Plus is purchasable and usable via Stadia, so if you're not part of the Hold Ubisoft accountable crowd like me and continue to play their games, you can get access to just Ubisoft Plus via Stadia without having to buy an additional package that you maybe don't want, and then play it on any internet-connected device that you own. In the 2 years that Luna has been live, I have tried to understand this pricing structure. I've tried to see the value in it. But no matter how I look at it, what spin I put upon it, when services like PS Plus Premium cost the same for a year as Luna does for 2 months, and Plus has a library more than 2.5 times bigger with some of the best exclusives in the industry on it, I come out with a singular question that I simply cannot answer. What sort of user is Luna aiming at? Because it surely isn't the average gamer with these prices. It's not the hardcore with the age of the titles on the service, and it's not the casuals with the barriers to entry. So who on earth is it for? Let me know who you think they're aiming it at in the comments down below. My final point that I want to address is the Amazon situation. Now, I could go into a rant about Jeff Bezos here and his sexual misconduct. I could rant about not understanding the deity levels of worship offered to billionaire CEOs. I could rant about the incredibly poor working conditions for minimal pay that the staff are subject to worldwide. I could rant about the buyouts and destruction of startups that are doing things better and more popular than Amazon, so Amazon can continue to hold a monopoly. There are serious negatives to this company wherever you look, but these aspects I have mentioned have been covered with more depth, nuance, and impact than I could manage in this video, so please go and look these up to understand what I'm talking about on these matters. In this video, I want to touch on Amazon games. Who remembers Crucible here? No, I'm not talking about Destiny's PvP activity. Amazon Games released a hero shooter called Crucible on the 20th of May 2020. It wasn't a brilliantly well-received game. Most of that is because, while the title was perfectly serviceable from a gameplay perspective, it was rather barren in terms of content. Add in a bunch of grossly overpriced microtransactions, and the players revolted en masse. A mere 6 months later, on the 9th of October 2020, Crucible was shuttered. The servers turned off, and every player given full refunds for anything they had bought. A rather disastrous first foray into the gaming space after 6 years of development, that one. Next up came New World, a drastic difference in terms of launch and maintaining a player base. At least, initially. A couple of weeks in, New World started to receive patches that broke more than they fixed. They opened up exploits, over-nerfed legitimate routes to compensate, increased the XP grind, and so on. New World went from a possible success story to another disaster for Amazon through their own tinkering. The game has over 14 million registered players, but of those 14 million accounts, only 450,000 have logged in the last week, whereas the 20-year-old World of Warcraft has had over 6 million players log in the last week alone. One of those games got longevity right, should we say. Lost Ark is another big release for Amazon, and this one worked, but that's mostly due to 7 years of a live game in development simply being licensed by Amazon for a Western release. Amazon Games never actually touched this title, which, based on their track record, is probably why this one works. Oddly, however, neither of these active titles appear on Luna. Amazon's own games don't appear on Amazon's own gaming platform. Not that this is an issue to many people. The track record isn't exactly great for Amazon published titles. But my biggest gripe with Stadia is the lack of exclusives. If I can get everything that Stadia offers somewhere else, with more atop that list, what incentive is there to pick up Stadia? With Luna, I can ask that same question, but the answer is made worse by the fact that they do have their own games, they just don't publish them on their own platform. When success to Amazon is only based in increasing financial turnover, and Luna has had a doubling of its basic price already in its lifespan, I can see Amazon pricing and monetizing Luna out of reach of gamers in a similar manner to what they've done with Twitch. And when that happens, with such a small install base already, I can very easily see Luna being shuttered within 5 years. So can you trust the review of a product the reviewer has never touched? Because that's what I've given the brave viewers today. I've never touched Luna. I can't. It's not available in the UK. And between a global pandemic, travel restrictions, and a cost of living crisis, I've not exactly had the opportunity to just pop over to the US at some point and try it. But I've still been able to form a strong opinion based on the information that Amazon themselves have put out into the world. I know that if it does ever launch in the UK, I can't afford it. This year alone, in 2022, I have cut Stadia Pro, GeForce Now, Game Pass Ultimate, Switch Online, Amazon Prime, Marvel Unlimited, and Comic-Cons from my expenditure to put food on the table. 7 hobbies that in 2021 were easy expenditures, but in 2022 I've had to cut simply to exist. Luna is the most expensive cloud gaming option on the market, hands down. Per month, it costs nearly twice as much as GeForce Now's 3080 tier. When you then consider that I've cut out a load of cheaper options than Luna to simply survive, Luna can't ever be entertained as an option for me if it ever does launch in the UK. Every interesting game on the service is something that I've already played on other platforms. These aren't remakes on Luna. The graphics, frame rates, and load times, they're all exactly the same as the ones that I already have. And any gamer who hasn't lapsed in the last 3 years will be in exactly the same position. So why would we pay more money to have the exact same experience on Luna when we already have them available without the need of further expenditure? When a new service launches into an existing and established industry, they have to differentiate themselves from the competition in a positive way to convince customers to use their new service and leave their current platform. Luna definitely differentiates itself from the competition, but for me, not in a positive way. A unique but convoluted pricing matrix. Old games readily available on other platforms. No exclusive games. None of the big third-party games. Expense beyond any other service. None of that makes me want to jump ship. It just makes me view Luna as an abject failure. So yes, you can trust the review of a product that the reviewer has never touched. But they need to explain why. I would caution that you go into those sort of reviews with an open mind. There are many reasons a reviewer may not have been able to use something, but they still feel strongly enough about it to offer a review. As long as they can back up those reasonings with well-explained thoughts and facts, then of course you can trust them. Just beware, not everybody puts thought into the process like I have. If you have enjoyed this content, make sure to check out this video about whether or not Stadia is dead in 2022. Otherwise, your viewership is more than enough for me. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Doragon. This is my review of Amazon Luna, and until next time, have a fantastic day and take care.